You hear us okay, Greg?
I'm going up, Commissioner.
I think he might be muted.
There he is.
Gregory muted. I don't hear him. Let's make sure we're on the right one here. Oh wait, it's trying to send me to TV. Stand by. There we go. All right.
Try it again, Greg.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Okay, great. Hold on 1 second and we'll start the meeting.
I'm just going to turn you up a little bit there.
Okay.
You should be good to go.
All right, the Bannock County Board of Commissioners is back in session as the Board of Equalization. The purpose of this hearing is to ensure that all assessments are fair, equitable, and in accordance with Idaho state law. Our role is confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment has been properly determined by the assessor. We are not here to discuss taxes. It is crucial that you understand your role as the appellant in the process. You have the burden of proof, but you only need to provide a sufficient amount of factual evidence to sustain your burden of proof. A sufficient amount of factual evidence means recent sales, professional appraisals, evidence of property condition, documentation of factors affecting market value, or photographs showing property conditions. Again, we're here to discuss facts, not opinions. This is a formal hearing, and we ask that all testimony be respectful, relevant, and based on factual opinion or factual information, not opinion. All individuals providing testimony will be sworn in, and each party will be given 3 minutes to present their case. First, the appellant will go, followed by a response from the assessor's office. The board may ask questions at any time, and we'll go back and forth. Our decision will be based on whether you've met a preponderance of evidence standard and all relevant factors affecting your property's market value as of the assessment date of January 1. After our decision, you will receive a letter outlining the decision. If you so choose to appeal today's decision, you will have the option to do so in the district court or at the State Board of Appeals. All those who will be providing testimony this afternoon, please rise, and Nancy will swear you in. And so, Greg, you just get to sit there and hand up.
And Mr. Leslie.
Yep, and Mr. Leslie.
Do you
Sorry, my camera's not.
You're good.
It's okay, I can see you.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. With that, Mr. LeBlanc, we'll let you begin so you can state, as soon as you state your name, your 3 minutes will begin.
Okay, Greg LeBlanc, that's Leblanc, for tax advisors representing property owner. Do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and hit that. Okay, you should be seeing page 1 of our evidence.
We do?
So you can see our requested value difference. We've got a difference of about $1.5 million. This is the federal building that they're in Pocatello. It's 43,162 square feet, built in 1999. It's leased by the federal government. It's on a 20-year lease with a starting rent at 25, or current rent at $25.53 per square foot, triple net. Our valuation is based on the income approach, where we are projecting market rent with a 5% vacancy. We have 14 or 15% for expenses, and we're using a 7% cap rate. That gives us a value of $12,709,600, or about $295 a square foot. Here's an operating history of the property. You can see our 2024 NOI was at $857,000. We're projecting concluded NOI at $889,000. So we are trending that NOI upward, consistent with the property performance. One thing to consider here is that this property actually did sell. It sold back in April of 2022 and allocated purchase price and sold with two other GSA properties, one in Arizona and one in New Mexico. So the allocated purchase price for this property was $15,010,000, which, and now you're saying, well, that's higher than the current assessment. But the issue we have here is that this was purchased at the peak of the market in early 2022. And since that time, interest rates have gone up substantially. If we look at page 28 of our evidence, these just to illustrate what's happened with interest rates. In January of 2022, the 10-year Treasury was at 1 3/4, and the prime rate was at 3.25%. Just a year later, that more than doubled to 3.53% for the 10-year Treasury, and the prime rate went up to 7.5%. And by January 24, it's up even higher, for 4% and 8.5% for the prime. So you can really see the significant difference in interest rates. Then if you look at market conditions, you can see that values have gone down. This is from CoStar, and it shows the blue line is the Pocatello market, and the green line is the United States. And due to the lack of sales activity and the lower value in general for buildings, commercial real estate, hoteling, it's pretty gradual, but it's hard to see. But if you look at this, you can see that around the time of the sale, this was when the sale price was negotiated in late 2021. The average sale price per CoStar was $126 a square foot, and fast forward to Q1 of 2025, it's down to $110 a square foot. So that's about a 12.5 or just over 12.5% depreciation between the sale date and our value date in January 25. If we do that market conditions adjustment, you get a value similar to what's indicated in our income approach. We've also included the CoStar market as evidence. It's on page 39. We can see, we don't really have any rent growth being too significant here. It's just around $15 a square foot. The yellow line is the United States in general. And if we look at,
Okay, that is your time. So I'll give you 30 seconds to wrap it up.
Okay, so here we got the sales activity as well, and you can see that Utah, Idaho being a non-disclosure state, don't really have a lot of sales there. And as far as cap rates go, you can see that the cap rates are going up between late 21, 22 when they're bottomed out, and they're peaking in January of 25. So really, we've got a sale, which is great information to have, but we are just simply providing a market conditions adjustment to this to get down to our requested value, and that's supported by our income approach.
Okay, thank you. Assessor, do you have any questions for him?
No questions.
Okay, board, any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, Assessor, your time begins now.
Thank you. Jason Hooker, Bannock County Commercial Appraisal. When we took a look at the property, we do think the appellant, they did send a lot of information over. One of the things that the appellant brought up is accurate, that with it being a non-disclosure state, there are not a lot of sales for us to look at. Now, one of the points the appellant brought up is that we now know the sale price of this property from 4 years ago when it sold for $15 million. And at the time, we had it assessed quite a bit lower, which indicates at the time of sale, our values were low. So then we try to take a look at what has the market done since then. This particular property took a big jump this year, but that's not to reflect any changes per se strictly in this last year. It shows us that with our new updated costing data, our value was low until we made that upgrade this year, which is supported by the sale price. We did take a look at the income approach, and when we did an income approach on this using the appellant's information, we came to a very similar value. I believe ours came in at 12.7 million. And so when we take a balanced approach of what the income approach would indicate and then also what the sales approach would indicate, we actually show, if we were to give that 50-50 weighting, we'd come in at 14.7 million, which is a little bit higher than where we're at. But we do think it's worth acknowledging where the income approach does lead versus what we know the property actually did sell for. So when we looked at over all of our information, we couldn't find an opportunity to lower the value. So our recommendation is that we uphold the current assessed value.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Not really.
Commissioner Moser?
No, the key to me is the selling price, and basically in Idaho, properties have not gone down.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Again, I acknowledge the difficulty of everybody trying to come up with an exact value. I would caution us to go again, with any of the national trends, because national trends don't necessarily reflect what's happening in Bannock County. And so with the information that has been presented with the assessors, I am inclined to uphold the assessor's value on this particular parcel.
Are you making that as a motion?
I can, yes. Parcel RPRPP0OC150200 to uphold the value of the assessor.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion?
No.
Okay, at this point in time, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, at this time, we have upheld the assessor's value. You and your company still have the opportunity to appeal through district court or through the State Board of Appeals. And you will receive notification by letter here in the next week or two about the decision and the steps if you should choose to go forward with an appeal. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you for your time and for your patience while we got our technology hooked up.
All right, thank you for your time. Enjoy the 4th.
All right, you too. Thank you. Adam, thank you so much for your help. Appreciate that.
No problem. Are you done with the Zoom
Yep,
altogether?
we are done.
You're-
Derek? Thank you, Jason.
Was this where you'd like me?
Yeah. So, we acknowledge that you have multiple properties, but we're here to just discuss one with the understanding that it will apply across the board, the discussion that we have.
Yes, if we resolve this issue, it'll basically set the stage for all of them. So we
So-
talk about one, we're
So
good.
which parcel number would you like to discuss?
Let's talk about, let me find it here, it's 4347 Jordan. I've got it here, let me look it up and I'll tell you. It is RPRPAP 200405.
405. 1 second while we get there.
There are two 405s, so make sure you see the 2000 before it.
Okay. All right, I found it. Did you find it?
405.
Okay, were you able to find it? Okay, go ahead and state your name, and then
All right.
the 3 minutes is yours.
My name is Derek Leslie. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys in the assessor's office for the time that you've spent with me. So far, it's been informative. A lot of the questions and things were answered when I've, especially with Josh, when I was able to meet with him the other day. I met with him after I turned in most of this paperwork. So some of these points, the questions that I had listed have been answered in some of them. But this year over year, we've had essentially a 19% increase from 2023 values to 2024 values on my fourplexes. I have 4 fourplexes out there. And we know that the values really haven't gone up that much. And as I've talked to both Cammie and Josh about the situation, and I think they'll acknowledge, and it's similar to, not as bad, but probably similar to the case you just heard there, is that there's not a lot of comparable sales out there. And the ones based on the 2024 sales, none of them were similar in age, condition, or amenities such as garages and things like that. So I understand the challenge that it's been to kind of arrive at value. But when you look at a 19% increase year over year, I think something that went wrong, and I think it has largely to do with the shortage of comparable sales valuations. One of the things was, and when I talked to Cammie, she mentioned to me a comparable sale on Dillon Street that ended up being 2 fourplexes, but when I talked to Cammie, I was under the impression that they were thinking that those 2 fourplexes were actually 1 fourplex that sold for $850,000. But it was 2 fourplexes that sold for $850,000. So I'm wondering if some of the comps that were used were either misvalued or not understood, that the fact that was 2 fourplexes that went for $850,000. And then from what Josh told me, if there's a multiple sale, that kind of kicks it out anyway. If there's more than one building being sold, that can't essentially be used as a comp. So I'm kind of questioning that comp and what they've used to value the property there. And I realize that they're only able to use 2024 comparable sales, but so far this year in 2025, there's been 2 comparable sales already this year that they're not able to use that are very similar in style, age, quality, and everything to mine.
Okay, that's your time.
Okay.
Can you give us those addresses on those?
Yes.
Just give us the sale prices.
Okay, so I've got them listed on, let's see, with the packet that I turned in, they're 210 West Chubbuck Road and 2420 East Terry. So do they have this?
I have your packet,
So there's kind of comparing my property at 4347 Jordan to 210 West Chubbuck Road and to 2420 East Terry.
So we have a price of $597 on one and $622 on the other?
Or wait, sales prices?
Yeah.
So 210 West Chubbuck Road sold for $559,000 on the 15th of May of this year. 2420 East Terry sold for $549,000 on the 17th of February.
Okay.
And these are the adjusted prices.
No, these are the actual sold prices. The adjusted prices, when at least I ran
You're moving it backwards?
numbers and calculated, compensating for differences in garages and square footage, 210 West Chubbuck Road comes in at $602,976, and the one on Terry comes in at $564,064.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, any questions from the assessor? Okay, any additional questions from the board?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, assessor, floor is yours.
I'm Cammie Brown, a residential appraiser with the assessor's office. I have provided the comparable showing. I tried to do a span. So there were two newer ones and then one older one. An older one at 300 Adams Street is actually a comparable that the appellant also included. It is pretty close as far as year built because it is been remodeled, so it has an effective year of 1992. However, his fourplexes are almost double in price, but when it breaks down to price per square foot, that Adams Street comes within 2 feet, $2 per square foot. So we have his at 136 and that one comes in at 138. It is required that we have 5 cells to consider when doing the mass appraisal, and we had 15 fourplexes sold this past year, so that's about 3 times the amount required to do a mass appraisal. When looking at the subject property, it very much looks like a townhouse, and even on one of the documents provided by the appellant, it is listed as a townhouse style. And I've also provided comparables as far as valuing it as a townhouse, and it is extremely under when compared to those. And those are much closer in year bill as well as square footage. And they even have garages. One is detached versus the attached. But with all that considered, in reference to the Dillon, we did have the information that it was 2 fourplexes. It had just not been allocated out yet, but we did have that it was 2. So any comparables involving that one, it was allocated out appropriately. And with the information, I recommend that we uphold the value.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Commissioner?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Commissioner?
I don't think so. I think everything was pretty well explained, and thank you for your explanation as well, so.
Can I say one more thing?
You bet. What you got?
So she said that there's kind of 5 comps needed to arrive at a value. I've got 3 2024 comps as well as the 2 2025 comps that all come in essentially around the $591,452 valuation price range. And the 2 2025 comps, like I said, are more similar in age to the Adams property, more in a more recent comp. One of them was a townhouse with garages, so built only a few years apart. So 2025 comp, townhouse, similar in age and style and everything else. By far the best comp out there, most recent townhouse style, should brings us in at the value just under $600,000. And there's multiple other comps. The one on Adams is the outlier. It's way higher than any of the other comps of the 6, 7, 8 comps that there is. That is the high one. I've got at least 5 other comps that bring me in under $600,000 on this.
Okay, thank you. Thoughts?
I'd uphold the assessor's value, in my opinion.
So on the one in question, the assessor's value is $692,873, correct? Looking at the right one?
That's the 2,405, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see anything that would change that, so. That's a
Okay.
lot of information.
Who wants to make a motion then?
So are you going to put all of the parcel numbers in the same?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the discussion, that we would let him come talk about one, and that whatever we decided here would apply to all, so.
Yeah, I don't see. So with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we, under Mr. Leslie as the appellant, that we go ahead and uphold all of the assessor's values on those parcels.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion?
No.
And you present some very compelling evidence, and the fourplexes are tough because you can see both sides. So with that, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So you'll receive a notification in the mail, and you can appeal through either the district court or the state board of appeals. Yeah, we've decided to uphold the values at this point in time.
All right, appreciate your time.
Okay, thank
There-
you.
There were a lot of comps there, and they only had one, so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, what else do we have on? for-
Army Belt Trust.